Imagine a library so vast, so incomprehensibly massive, that its books contain all possible combinations of letters, spaces, and punctuation marks. A library so huge that it might as well be infinite for the average inhabitant, each book containing its unique sequence of randomly strung together characters. Within this library, therefore, contains every sentence, text, play, poem, manual, biography, novel, an explanation of everything and everyone to ever exist, to never exist, and that will ever exist. Exact true descriptions of your birth and death, and those exact same descriptions, but with spelling mistakes on every third page. The whole works of Shakespeare, and the whole works of a great writer that will be born 1,000 years into the future. The cure to cancer, exact calculations and explanations of the mysteries of the universe, absolutely everything, but far, far more gibberish, so much so that the chances of ever finding a book with even a coherent sentence, let alone such aforementioned enlightenment, is so unimaginably small that it might as well be zero. The books of this library composing an infinite realm of nonsense, but hidden knowledge, just out of reach. What I have just explained to you is the concept of the Library of Babel, a thought experiment introduced by Argentine writer Jorge Luis Borges in his short story by the same name, written in 1941. The story follows the reflections and experiences of an unnamed narrator, an inhabitant of the library universe who tells us about its nature as well as the various types of people and factions that reside within it. He describes the architecture of the library as a seemingly infinite spanning collection of interconnected hexagonal rooms known as hexagons, with each hexagon, excluding both the doorways, containing on each of its four sides 5 lines of bookshelves, with each shelf containing 32 books each with 410 pages, as well as housing, sleeping, and food storage areas for the inhabitants. In the center of each hexagon is a ventilation shaft that leads downward and upwards indefinitely to other hexagons. Spiral staircases vertically connect these hexagons across different levels, with the doorways in each hexagon leading to the next, creating an infinite network in all directions. The inhabitants of the library, or librarians as they are referred to by the narrator, are born, live, and die within the claustrophobic but immeasurably boundless confines of the hexagons. The societies formed around the shared mission of attempting to uncover meaning in the vast sea of gibberish. The narrator explains that over the course of hundreds of years, philosophers and scholars made important discoveries about the reality of the library, including its element of containing the generation of all possible texts, every idea and permutation of letters that could be imagined. To quote page 115, "There was no personal problem, no world problem whose eloquent solution did not exist somewhere in some hexagon. The universe was justified. The universe suddenly became congruent with the unlimited width and breadth of humankind's hope." Most librarians thus assume the role of simple searchers, individuals that spend their lives sifting through books in search of any semblance of intelligibility. Many seek the Book of Books, a text that supposedly contains the truth about the library and the universe. Others yet sought for their vindications, texts that contain the vindication and apologetics of the actions of every person in existence, every to exist and every to ever exist. Some groups, inspired by their mortal frustration by the endless volumes of nonsensicality, resorted to purging entire shelves of books down the ventilation shafts, while other groups emphasize the sacred purity of the natural state of the library. Some hold religious beliefs about a messianic man of the book, who according to legend has or will discover a book that explains all others and bring to the library an ultimate understanding. Throughout the story, Borges explores the effects of living in such an environment, the elation and joy of rare discoveries of coherency, and the despair of the realization that much of the contents of the library remain forever lost, buried by the indecipherable, the torturous reality that it all lay just out of reach, remaining in the minds of the librarians. We see the human condition here put truly on display, reminding us as the readers that the universe that we live in is, in fact, not so different. Metaphorically, the library represents deterministic chaos. Although each book is random, the library still adheres to its own set of predefined rules, the structuring of the hexagons, for example. So too, in our universe, are there rules that we refer to as the laws of physics, cause and effect, and quantum mechanics. As we gaze into the stars, we are reminded of the vast expanse that we ourselves belong to. Hundreds of billions of light years spanning out and containing trillions of galaxies, and hundreds of trillions of stars, each star on average containing multiple of its own planets, all just in our own observable universe, a scale and quantity utterly inconceivable. We are reminded of the immense insignificance of not only ourselves, but of all our problems in the grand scheme of the universe. Despite this yet, still, we search desperately for meaning in our existences. Just as the librarian seeks to find but a shred of coherency in a book among gibberish, we too seek to find coherency and meaning within the patterns, formations, and chaos of our universe. We are driven by our need to impose order upon the unorderable, or to achieve a vague sense of familiarity and comfort. The library topples this emotion-driven endeavour of ours by forcing us to confront the balance of meaning and meaninglessness. Every conversation, every scientific experiment, every philosophical debate is all a quest through the Library of Babel, and we are the librarians, rummaging through shelves, not of books, but of data, ideas and theories, all striving to find something of significance, but still terrified by the thought that perhaps at the end there may be none waiting for us.